Hello and welcome to the Boro Breakdown Podcast. This is your weekly reminder to check the league table because the Boro are still top of it following Friday night's 2-1 victory over West Brom. And I am delighted to be joined by Tom and Matt for this one. Guys, as always, let's kick off with our key takeouts from the game. Tom, do you want to start us off with your one key takeout from the victory over West Brom?
Yeah, I mean, thinking of a key takeout for this was quite difficult because I don't think there's anything I can really sum everything up with how I'm feeling at the moment. Walking away from the ground yesterday, I was like, I can't believe what I've seen from this Boro team in the first 6 games now. I suppose 7. I couldn't believe what I was seeing for that 7th game that we don't want to talk about either. But yeah, from it's the best start ever. So obviously, all through my time of supporting Boro, I have never seen anything like this, and I'd love for it to continue as long as possible. But I was actually just saying to Matt before we started, it's at the point which I haven't had for maybe a couple of years now, where we'll finish a game at the Riverside and I'm looking ahead and thinking, right, when is the next time I can watch Boro play again? Because I just want to see us continue this run and see where this team can go this season.
Yeah, for me, it's just, I just want to just enjoy and take this in while we've got it, because as we say, best start ever, 5 wins from 6, 16 points from 6 games. I mean, it's incredible. And yeah, it's not, we're going to hit blips, and we simply can't keep this up. It can't go on like this. It can. But it's just like, at the moment, I'm just trying to enjoy and savor this amazing start that we've had and the number of wins we've had, because it doesn't get much better than this at the moment as a football fan, just to see your team top of the table and be able to sit back this weekend and just feet up no matter what everyone else does. We're going to be there. It's been amazing. And again, another great win last night against a decent team, I would say. So just keep going and just enjoy it while we can. I can't believe we're in the position we're in. It's amazing.
Yeah, it really is, isn't it? I think it's so positive to have this start of the season. We've not been used to it. We've been used to poor starts, slow starts that basically bring about negative emotions, frustration, infuriation, maybe a little bit of anxiety even. But with Boro right now, they're just hitting all the right beats. They're really making us feel positive and really bought in. And I think my key takeout is that, and I think I've said this many times actually from the start of the season, there's still a lot more to come from Middlesbrough. Rob Edwards said it after the game that, we've still got another level to reach. But I think the level that Boro are at now, pretty solid at the back, taking their chances when they come to them, making sure that we are on the right side of the big moments. I think we are seeing hallmarks of a good side, and I think that's all you want from a team at this level. You want to have a good side that when you go into a game, you feel like they can overcome certain adversities. And Tom, you asked me last week about certain questions that I had and the answers to them. Well, we saw another few answers to them yesterday because we had injuries. We came through them. We shuffled the pack. I think we did relatively well with that. And we came up against a West Brom side that at times were pretty compact. And we've managed to find the key moment in the first half through a little bit of craft. So really positive, and still more to come from this Middlesbrough side. We will talk about the game now then, because goals from Strelec and Sen gave Handsome Robs, Red Hot Reds, another victory, their 5th from their last 6 games. As Tom mentioned, the best start ever in Middlesbrough Football Club's history. Guys, what did we make of that one? Matt, we'll start things off with you.
Yeah, it was again, it was the sort of game I expected it to be. I thought, looking at West Brom and looking at Boro, 2 very organised teams who probably aren't the most creative in the world. So I never expected it to be a goal fest. I never expected it to be a one-sided game. It was the sort of arm wrestle that I expected it to be, especially in the first half. We did have a scare. firstly. Nat Phillips with a shot. If he puts it anywhere else, it probably is a goal. He ends up shooting it straight at Solbren, who's already on the floor. So we got a little bit fortunate there. But I thought after that we settled into the game really well and dominated the ball. But as you say, it was just trying to break through this West Brom team. And I know a lot's been said about Borough's lack of creativity, and I do think it's valid. But I think last night you've got to just give respect to the opposition, and West Brom are not an easy team to break down. So even though they were compact, we still had moments. Conway had a chance. Nipan had a good chance cutting on his left foot. So we were probing. But the opening goal was really interesting because I just happened to clock the touchline because I thought first half, my God, long throw-ins really are coming back into trend, aren't they? Because they had a few. I've not seen Boro do one, and we've not done a long throw-in since the days of Tony Pulis and Ryan Shotton, which you don't like to often think back to. And when we got that thrown on the left-hand side, I saw Harry Watling. He rushed off of the touchline and he was doing the gesture. So credit to Harry Watling. He was the first to jump up and basically he said, right, long throw, let's do it. And then obviously George Edmondson comes over and I think it says a lot about Strelec that he was barely in the game and yet he pops up in exactly the right place where you need him at that moment. And I think that's just what top strikers do. You know, you see it at the highest level with like Haaland and stuff. He's barely in the game for long periods. And then he pops up in the right place and scores. And Strelec did that for us last night. So that was a big moment to get ahead. I will say they came back pretty well at the start of the second half. They hadn't, for the first 15 minutes, had us pinned in. We just couldn't keep the ball. We just kept clearing it and it just kept coming back. And I honestly did think in that second half, it was a matter of time before they scored. But man, we scored at the right time and we turned into Barcelona for a brief moment with that second goal, which I thought was absolutely amazing. What a great goal. I didn't actually quite clock how good that goal was until I watched it back. Because from the North Stand, I didn't quite sort of understand how good that goal was. So that was the perfect time to get that 2-goal buffer, which we obviously needed in the end. Because I always felt like they had a goal in them. And it was a bit nervy towards the end. But again, stoppage time, we navigated it really, really well. So yeah, this was a tough game, and I do think West Brom will be a good side this season. So to come out on the right side, the 2-goal scorers probably couldn't have picked 2 more popular goal scorers either to get Strelec and sent off the mark. I think that's important too. So yeah, once again, it was another really good night at the Riverside, a great win against a good team, and an amazing night. I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Yeah, really enjoyable game last night. I'm still kind of adjusting to what this Boro team, what to expect from this Boro team in games like this, because you know we've seen a lot of different styles of play and stuff over the years, and you can look at say the stats from the games that we've played this year, and like possession stats are either quite even or even the other team having more of it, but then we've still come out the better. Matt, you saying there, West Brom, you felt like they always had a goal in them. I didn't get that same feeling last night, and it's no disrespect to West Brom, because I think you can tell from how they were playing why they are where they are in the league and why they've had the start that they've had. But it did seem, for all the possession that they had, which I think it was about even last night, but even they might have had a little bit more. We were set up quite well to kind of negate them. So what I was watching in the warm-ups last night, they seemed really dangerous from crossing situations, but not so much from like in the middle. They were warming up with a lot of practice on headers and volleys off crosses, and they looked dangerous from that. So I was like, I wonder how this is going to go during the game, because I think the way we set up, it does force teams to go more out wide. And they didn't look particularly dangerous from the drills where they've been going through the middle anyway. But we had them going out wide as we normally set out to do, but we were also getting our heads on the majority of stuff that was coming into the box. So, and it's a bit weird because, like I say, I thought they didn't necessarily have a goal in them, but what I'm and I'm adjusting to what to expect from Boro team, but it's kind of similar in my mind and those defensive expectations to what we had under Karanka, where teams would come forward and they might create chances, but we make blocks and set up really well defensively out of nowhere, and people would be in the right positions. And I just think in terms of that defensive positioning, we have that spot on this season. And like I said, the way we set up is forcing teams out wide across, and we're in the right positions to deal with them. So from that perspective, I'm really enjoying seeing us defensively. But I think as you guys have said, there's still more to come from this Boro team in terms of our attacking output and our creative output. Could we honestly say at the moment we are seeing the best from Strelec, Sen, Nipan, even Hansen? I don't think we are, and that would go for Conway and Whitaker as well, because they are both in a new system. I think once it clicks up front, we should be seeing a very different Boro team, but we are already seeing the good signs for me defensively that we are going to be solid this season. We are clinical with what we do create, and I think the best of that creativity is still to come.
Yeah, it's exciting, isn't it, that there's more levels for this Boro team to reach. I think our latest victory, well, it was another win, and crucially as well, it was another win at home. 3 games down at the Riverside, 3 victories. That's so important for fan buy-in, because coming into this season, I think a lot of fans were a bit disillusioned with Middlesbrough, coupled with the really poor, you have to say, and it still is, pricing. And it's not just a Middlesbrough specific problem, it's a problem with football as a whole, as a business. You know, ticket prices, both in terms of season tickets and walk-up prices, are astronomical, really. It's completely just... It's a chat for another day, I suppose, but it's good that, you know, we saw 27,800 at the Riverside yesterday, seeing the South Stand full to the brim, healthy attendance in the North Stand, in the West Stand. Obviously, I'm in the East Stand, so I don't know how it looked, but it certainly felt around me. There was a lot of people there. And I think with this win in particular, it's just finding different ways to win. I think Boro had to not suffer, but they had to spend a lot of the second half in particular without the ball, and they had to maintain good structure, good shape. I kind of agree with you, Tom. I didn't really feel unnerved by like West Brom in possession. I didn't feel a nervous disposition at the Riverside. I don't know whether I'm trusting us, but maybe I'm getting there with us, because I've seen a lot of good defensive moments from Boro so far this season, but they had a lot of the ball second half, and I think we just have to deal with it a little bit better. And that's why Rob Edwards put Cali Sen on, you know, wanted to maybe bring about more off the ball, in the transition, maybe on the counter attack. But then in the first half as well, I think we had spells of possession that I was saying to my dad, I think literally right before we scored, we just need a little bit of territory in the final third. We just need a chance just to lift the crowd, because the crowd got a little bit flat, I would say, and we got that moment. It was a great, well worked goal, actually. As I said, a little bit of craft, and we will speak about Strelec's goal a little bit later on. It was always going to be a tight game. Matt, listening to your opposition preview with Chris, Ryan Mason has set West Brom up to be pretty solid, and that's their base level foundation. And I think in terms of their structure, they were good yesterday. And it was going to be decided by a moment of quality. And in the end, the goal that separates the two sides, 2-1 scoreline, was a fantastic goal from Sen. Fantastic goal from Middlesbrough, actually, because it wasn't just Sen, it was, you know, many players involved in it. So I really quite enjoyed that. Again, it's just a different type of victory for Boro. Really positive to see Sen and Strelec get off the mark. Very important for them settling in. The only blemish on it is that we conceded a really sloppy, avoidable goal at the end. But all in all, it was, you know, it was a good victory for Boro. And yeah, just a really nice, it's just a nice feeling, isn't it, when you come back from the Riverside and you feel like, you know what, I enjoyed that, and we got the result to boot. So yeah, very positive.
It's exactly what I was wanting in pre-season. I said I just want Boro to be a team that, I know it's quite a broad statement, but play winning football, you know, just win. And I know that's what every fan wants to see, but that's what I'm getting from us at the minute. We're winning in different ways. Every game, it feels like we've had to win in a different way. We're not tied to playing specifically the same way all the time. We're not tied to winning the same way all the time. We are finding ways, and I think that's something you can't really measure, but it's something that I think is invaluable. So that's a real big tick that I wanted to see from this Boro team. And just off the back of what Tom was saying on, I guess, what's more to come from this team, I think that's really exciting as well, because I know, and I guess it's just because we're nitpicking and it's hard to find things that are wrong at the moment, but we always want to improve and be better. And I guess the creativity side of things is somewhere we would like to improve. But I was saying to Tom before we recorded, like, there's a lot of teams in this league who are probably in the same boat as us. You know, it's only 6 games in. A lot of teams who have probably got better, on paper at least, attacking forces than what we do. And they're not clicking. They're still trying to find the right combination. They're still trying to find the right formula. So, you know, we're talking like we've hit the ceiling with Boro up front, but we haven't, far from. So although we would like to see more from us going forwards, we are far from finding the right front three in the right order, with players in the right sort of system, getting used to playing with each other in certain roles. So I think that's really exciting as well, that, yeah, there is still, I think, more to come from Boro. And I think there's still levels and gears for us to go through, especially at the top end of the pitch. So as long as we just keep seeing little bits of that, improvements and players settling and the new boys settling, I think that can only be a positive thing. I mean, the second goal was a reminder of what this team can do. And as I say, Sen and Strelec getting off the mark, I think, can only be a huge positive as well. So although, yeah, we need to see more in that department, I still think what we've seen so far is still quite promising.
Yeah, it is. And I just want to say as well, I bloody love Aidan Morris. Like, I think that he is probably he's definitely up there with one of the best signings that we have brought to the football club under Kieran Scott. I mean, there was that moment where he gave the ball away and it was just a really loose pass. He was supposed to pass it to Hayden Hackney and his radar was off. And that was really rare, actually, for Aidan Morris. I think there were times in the game yesterday where Hayden and Aidan, they weren't struggling by any means. I do not want to say that they were struggling. But I think that there was just a few times where it was, by their standards, a little bit below that. But at the same time, there were moments where I was thinking, God, I just love watching them. And it's not even so much like anything that's particularly notable. I just like the way that both of them combined together. Both of them are very progressive. They can play with their back to goal. They can play on the half turn. You know, they can play that ball around the corner. They're always picking up spaces in order to recycle possession. And then both of them, not just Hackney, but Morris as well, will try to progress the play. And as well, I can just see the mentality of Morris, that he's so hungry to win and he's got such high standards. There was a point in the second half where Whittaker had scooped the ball over one of the West Brom players and won a foul. And Aidan Morris is just jeering to the East Stand. It was probably more towards where you are, Tom, just to like applaud that moment from Whittaker. I think he's really showing, I think, some great leadership actions in Morris. And he was talking to Matt Drury of BBC Tees last week, I think it was, the week before the international break. And he was basically just saying that football is effectively his everything and he studies the game really hard. And I think you can tell. I really like him. I think he's a fantastic player. And I think we're very lucky to have two very progressive, forward-thinking players in midfield that just make Boro tick. Both of them are fantastic, but Aidan Morris in particular, I want to give him his flowers.
Yeah, completely echo all of that. And also just a couple of points on the leadership thing that you mentioned. I don't know if you guys noticed in the pre-match huddle, which I also love, by the way. I feel like anytime a team comes to the Riverside and has a huddle, then we're in trouble because we never usually do it. And then they'll go on and get something. That's just a kind of bizarre football god type of jinx thing. But yeah, they had it briefly on the big screen. And considering Ailing's the captain, it was Aidan Morris doing the talking in that huddle. Now, I don't know if that's a regular thing because, you know, we're not inside the huddle. We don't know. And it's not the type of thing that I feel like TV cameras pick up on a lot. But it was really interesting to see that. He was obviously given the captain's armband in pre-season. I think it might have actually been after one of the goals, maybe the second one. The cameras caught everyone celebrating, and Aidan Morris was, one of the first people talking to the goal scorer was. I think it was the second one. I think it was Sen that he was.
It was
talking
Sen,
to.
yeah.
It was,
yeah. But he was one of the first people there talking to him and kind of giving that motivation and stuff like that. Obviously, during the first one, he ran over to Rob Edwards and he was getting instructions from him to pass on. So yeah, I think in terms of leadership, future Boro captain, maybe. I know everyone really wants it to stick with Dale Fry, but I think there's definitely potential with Aidan Morris there, and obviously credit to Rob Edwards and the coaching staff because they saw it first in pre-season and acted on it. But yeah, it's possibly something to look out for in the future.
Yeah, definitely. I love watching him, and it's really good to see him really stepping up in terms of that personality. And yeah, just brilliant. I mentioned a moment in regards to him trying to G the crowd up with Morgan Whittaker. Also really good to see or hear the response to Whittaker coming on. Just a really warm welcome, almost correcting the course, really. Putting more into what we kind of took away from Morgan Whittaker's confidence potentially against West Brom, just balancing the scales a little bit more. It was brilliant to see or hear. Sorry, we're not seeing chants, we're hearing them, aren't we, Dana? But it was good to hear that, and just a mention for that, because even though the Preston game was mostly positive, it was we spoke about it. It's been spoken about at length. It was a really uncomfortable moment, so it was good to hear that it was a much more positive, more welcoming and warm reception that Whittaker got yesterday. Tom, David Strelec was handed his first start, and of course he scored. That was only his fifth touch in the game, so he was pretty much starved of service. He wasn't that involved in the match, but he did still score. What did you make of his first goal for the Boro?
I mean, good finish and good movement to get on the end of it. I've been watching quite a few YouTube videos and TikToks this morning of the game and neutral views on the game, and there were people picking up on it, it says a lot when West Brom had their entire 11 in the box and Strelec still found the space to get on the end of that and score. But yeah, it was mentioned earlier about Harry Watling calling for the long throw. It was actually mentioned to me last night after we scored it. My dad told me he was watching the warm-ups at Preston, that apparently in the warm-ups George Edmondson had a medicine ball and he was practicing the throwing motion with this medicine ball. So that was maybe a prelude to what happened last night. But it seems like another kind of skill that the coaching staff have picked up on, which we can utilise. But yeah, we do that. Ailing gets the second flick on in two weeks for goals. And yeah, Strelec found the space to get it. It's what you want from your striker, really. I think, especially with Strelec, he just seems like he's going to be a finisher. And he was working kind of quite well, spearheading that attack. Like you say, 5 touches, fifth touch, but it was a vital one. And ultimately, if you're getting a striker like that and everyone else is doing the work and they finish it off, we've had a few strikers like that in the past, and I think you look back at some of those names and people always remember them fondly because they end up with quite a lot of goals to their name. So if he can carry on doing that all season and popping up when it matters, then he's probably going to prove to be a pretty good signing.
I was so excited when he was starting. I saw his face. I didn't actually see his name first. I saw his face on the match day starting 11 graphic, and I was like, yes. So he's just one of those players, I think you kind of get excited. I mean, even in his limited touches, there was he dropped deep and then he played a ball around the corner for Nipan for the chance that he had. And it's just, I think, kind of what you were saying there. I think I would rather have a striker who's, if they do have limited touches, they're important moments and actions within the game, rather than someone who's going to pop up here, there and everywhere and it's not really leading to anything. Of course, I do want to see more involvement from David Strelec, because I think that he has quality in that left foot of his. But it's brilliant to see him score. Awful defending from West Brom, you'd be fuming if you were Ryan Mason, because they're man marking Ailing, but it's also Jason Malumbi marking the zone at the front post. And the way that Luke Ailing is just able to, in that half a second before he makes contact with the ball, just get in front of Malumbi and head it backwards with his man bun, by the way. It will never go down in the Opta records that it came off his man bun, but I'm going to give credit to the man bun. It comes off his man bun, and yeah, as you said, that's the second time now in 2 games that Ailing has got the front post from a delivery. Against Preston, it was Matt Targett's corner for Sonchi Hansen that led to Sonchi Hansen's goal, but it gets first contact, and I think that's maybe something to keep an eye on. But yeah, David Strelec off the mark in red, and all the Slovakian fans now Facebook comments will be absolutely buzzing with that, no doubt. But Matt, he did come off at half-time, much to my surprise and disappointment. But Rob Edwards said after the match that Boro needed Calisen's intensity and legs. What were your thoughts on that switch, Rob Edwards being bold, taking off Strelec and putting Calisen on?
Yeah, very bold, and it's still crazy to think that we have a manager who, well, will make changes at half-time when we're losing, never mind when we're winning. I mean, I couldn't believe it. At first I was worried that Strelec had picked up a knock or something, so I was really pleased to hear that it was a tactical switch, but it was a really good one. I mean, once again, everything Rob Edwards touches turns to gold, seemingly, because there wasn't much of a press from Strelec up front. Conway was chasing absolutely everything. He was like a dog chasing a bone last night, which is what I love about Conway. That's why maybe, and I'd be interested to hear if you guys think similar, but I would still probably switch up Strelec and Conway. I would like to see Strelec a bit more involved, maybe playing off of Conway, linking up the play a bit more, and Conway can be that pressing 9 from the front. But it made a lot of sense second half because, as expected, they had a lot of the ball, and Sen just chased everything. He was absolutely tireless. There were times where I think, it shows he's still got a bit of way to go. I think when it comes to the physicality of the league, he was getting shrugged off the ball a few times, which is understandable. He's new to the league and it will take him time to adjust. But I just think the energy and the pace that he gave us up front. I mean, there were times where he was throwing himself into slide tackles. Like, he was just absolutely chucking himself into everything and was tirelessly trying to chase the ball and press from the very front. So I think just with where we were at in the game and what we probably needed, it made perfect sense from Edwards. Again, it's bold. He took Sen off at halftime last week against Preston, and he spoke about how that can demoralise a player. But then equally, the script has flipped this week, and he's been the one who's come on and scored. So I think it's great for the players as well to, I guess for them, they'll see that the decisions Edwards is making, it might be tough decisions at times, might not always like it, but they're working and they're for the good of the team. And they will get their chance eventually. And Sen got his, and I guess the icing on the cake was that he actually scored as well. So yeah, it was a great substitution, a bold one, a brave one from Edwards. I think it definitely helped us defend from the front second half, obviously helped us get the important second goal. So yeah, the man can do no wrong. Edwards, he literally can't do anything wrong at the minute, can he?
He really can't. As you said, Sen got that second goal, and let's just spend a minute or two to laud it, because what a goal that was. Many players involved in it, just a brilliant, well-worked team goal. A little bit of quality just to effectively, in the end, decide the game. Yeah, open floor. Let's just talk about that second goal. It was brilliant, wasn't it?
I've rewatched it so many times this morning.
Same.
Because
Rewatch it now.
Yeah, I'll put it on the other screen at the moment. But it was difficult for me to actually see it in real time because of where I sit. And it was one of those bits of attack and play where, because there was that many people in the way, I was like, how on earth has that gone through and found its way to Sen? But then looking at it in replay, it's such a good move. And I was saying last season, one of the first kind of bad signs for me is like when passes aren't going to the player, like they're about 5 yards behind the player. On the flip side of that, one of the big positive signs for me that things are going really well is when we're getting passes to feet that you're watching in real time, and it's that quick, and you're like, there's no way we're coming out with this ball, and yet we still do. I mean, you look at, say, another correct example, but that the Adoma goal against Brentford in the playoff semi-final, that was one of those ones where you think it's like quick one-touch pass, and you think that's never getting through, and it results in a goal. Very similar feeling to that last night with this one. It was just quick passing. Every pass was on target. In previous seasons with different teams, maybe it would have got intercepted by someone on the way, but it was almost like it was written to go right, and then it falls to Sen, it's at left-footed, and it was just, I don't feel like the keeper had a chance for either goal last night, but even less so for the second, because it looked like he was an absolute mile away in the other corner of the goal, expecting the shot to go over there. And it just seems like Sen caught him out with that left-footed shot in off the post bottom corner. And as soon as that went in, I was just like, we're winning this. Can we go and get a third? Because
yes, sir.
It's lovely to see things clicking like that.
I'm just watching it again, and oh my god, it's such a good goal. I mean, the passing moves, the layoffs, the intricacy of it all, because it's all on that right-hand side, and it starts with Ailing. Britton's involved, Morris is involved, Hackney's involved, Conway's involved, Sen's involved, obviously. It's genuinely such a well-crafted goal. And one of the key moments of it is Hackney's little back heel flick, because he takes the pace off it. And I think that in the end, Sen's a little bit off balance. He ends up taking a tumble after he's taken the shot. He bends it around Campbell as well, by the way. I thought initially it might have gone through his legs, but then looking at the replay, it's just perfectly bent around him. Love the fact that it hits the post, by the way. I think it's so pleasing to me. But that moment from Hackney where he flicks it behind himself and plays through Sen with a lovely piece of skill, just takes the pace off the ball in order for Sen to get to it. Because I think if he didn't do that, Hackney, I'm not so sure that Sen would have actually reached that ball in the end. I'm not sure. I'm just going to speculate on that, but it's a really good moment from Hackney and just a really good goal. I think if you're a player involved in that, you must feel on top of the world when that hits the back of the net, because surely as a footballer, that's the type of goal that you want to be scoring in regards to like team efforts. You want that slick pass and go, pass and move, entry into the box from Conway, brilliant flick from Hackney, brilliant finish from Sen. Every single player involved in that goal and the build up to it must just feel completely alive, like euphoric, because it's brilliant. And yeah, I absolutely loved that goal. If we score a better one than that, I would be pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, I've not got much more to add. I've just been watching it on loop for the past 2 minutes. I don't even think I heard a thing either of you said, to be honest. It's just mesmerised, isn't it? Yeah, just a fantastic little. I love the little ball into Sen and his little layoff to Conway. So to see Sen involved in the build-up as well is really, really good. Considering he's only just joined the team, he's already sort of on the same wavelength as a lot of his teammates. And yeah, I mean, Conway's in a really tight space, and I think what Conway can do on the ball is maybe something we forget sometimes. You know, he's a good finisher, but he's also pretty good with the ball at his feet, and you know, his ball across is fantastic. But I'm so glad you brought the point up about Hackney's touch, D, because I do think the ball might have gone a little bit behind Sen potentially. Maybe it would have allowed the defender. Was it Campbell? Did you say the right back of it? The ball went around. It could have maybe opened up the opportunity for Campbell to close down Sen, and he might not have been able to get the shot off, or the defender might have just gotten close enough to distract him or even block it. So I think Hackney's touch just stops the ball perfectly in Sen's stride, but he's still got to bend it around the defender, and he puts it right in the corner. The goalkeeper's almost accepted his fate. And then in off the post. That's fantastic, isn't it? As I say, I didn't truly understand how good of a goal it was from the north stand. Tom mentioned, I mean, from the east, it's probably, from the north, it was impossible to really gauge who touched it and what. I had no idea Hackney had even touched it until after I saw the replay. And then when I watched it last night, I was like, wow, you know, let's just remember, for all the great things that we've seen Boro add to their game and improve on, we still have that in our locker. And I think that's really, really exciting.
Am I missing someone? Did Nipan take a touch as well? Honestly, about half the team end up touching the ball, I think. I think Nipan does, actually. I'm not sure. I'm going to have to confirm afterwards. Was he even on the pitch? I actually can't remember. Trust me, it's been a really quick turnaround for this game. I've had about 2 hours sleep. But yeah, it's brilliant goal. And I'm so glad that was finished off, because I think you can kind of frequently see, a bit like Tomlin's turn against Man City, that the finish isn't quite there at the end of it, and then it makes it that like what if nearly moment. There was no nearly moment in that. It was a perfect goal, and as I said, if we score a better one than that this season, I would be really quite happy, actually. Matt, a little bit of a blotch on the game, maybe. Injuries. I mean, shock horror. They're kind of coming up to bite us again. Fry sidelined with a calf problem. Lenihan was absent yesterday. Edwards said after the game that he's been managed after 2 years out. And Edmondson was forced off with a really nasty swollen eye. Are you concerned with Boro's depth at centre half, especially after that?
It is something that's lingering in the back of my mind a little bit. Even when we let Borges go, there was a part of me that instantly went, I'm not too sure. Obviously, it'll be helped a lot in January when Malanda comes in. But I feel like it's a position Boro have struggled with a lot in recent seasons. Could I honestly put, a lot of stock and faith in the likes of Lenihan and Fry staying fit for the majority of a season? Honestly, I would say no. I could probably say the same about Edmondson as well. The only centre-back in that back three is probably Alfie Jones, who I could honestly have faith in staying fit. Even Ailing, I think, has had his injury problems and has done outstanding so far. So it is a slight concern. Fry's a real shame, because I think when he's in the team and he's playing well, he's good. He's really good. It's just keeping him fit. The Lenihan one's a bit ambiguous, I feel. A lot of rumours around how serious and the severity of it. I don't feel like Edwards, as open and transparent as he is, committed all that much to what exactly the issue was with Lenihan. So that's a little bit of a strange one. But I am glad that Edmondson's just gotten a real shiner on his eye. I mean, that looked brutal. It was strange from the stands, because it looked like he had a bit of a collision. It clearly was a head injury, because the referee stopped play as soon as he did. And I thought at first maybe he was going back off because he felt a bit dizzy or something, or he was a bit lightheaded. But then you saw the shiner that he had. I guess it's the positive is it's hopefully something he can recover from pretty quickly, and he will be okay. But I do worry that with Boro, it seems like we either lose no centre backs or we lose 3 or 4 of them in a short space of time. So now I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, oh my God, if Ailing pulls up with a hamstring, what do we do? So I am already a little bit wary, but it is positive to see that Matt Targett slotted in and did a very good job, and Silvera come on and also did a very good job. So we can shift it around, which is good. But I would be lying if I said I'm not a little bit wary of the injury record of Boro's centre-backs.
Yeah, Tom, a player that is available and is playing centre-half and is playing it very well, actually, is Luke Ailing. He got man of the match yesterday from Sky, got BBC T's, got Maddo's pick for man of the match. He was rated quite highly in the Gazette and the Non-Echo as well in their match ratings. How have you found his performances at centre-half?
I think he's done well. He was fantastic last night. I was listening to his interview after the game, and he was kind of saying like, this is maybe expanding my career by another couple of years, because I can still play right back, but it's not as easy as it was like 6 or 7 years ago. I'm like, fair play if he's moved in. And by the way, I've never been kind of more happy to be proven wrong on something, because I said when Edwards first came in, it was like, we don't really have anyone we don't have that many centre backs, and I don't really want to see like Ailing at right centre back. You said he was, that's probably the position for him. I thought it was a left back and a right back on both sides being forced into centre back, but to be fair, it seems like a natural progression for Ailing to be there, and what I'm really enjoying seeing from him. Firstly is, and I think quite a lot of our players are doing this now, is when a ball is coming through from the midfield to the attacker and the attacker isn't going to the ball and they're stood still waiting for it, they'll always make that run in from behind and take the ball and instantly get us onto the attack, which I think especially when you've got more experience in the game, I don't want to say an older player, but this is going to be the case for as any player develops, when you've got more experience, you can read the game better. And I just think Ailing, Lenihan, even Target, to be fair, in that defence, they've got a really, really good habit of reading when they can nip in and nick a ball, which is great. But I also want to shout out something that happened last night where after the West Brom goal, Ailing just kind of went. It was like when someone's playing FIFA and they concede and they sit up and they're like, right, I'm going to start playing now, and just make a mad run out from midfield, because he wins the ball from like just after the goal kick. He pretty much takes everyone on and then fires it over the bar. I'm like, where the hell did that come from? I said to my dad afterwards, I was like, I've done that on like a Thursday night or a Sunday night when I've been playing seven-a-side. It's like, I couldn't tell you how I do that, and I don't think Ailing could tell you how he's just done that either. He's just, somehow taken on their entire team and put it over the bar. But yeah, really entertaining to watch that. But overall this season, I think he's well earned his position at right centre back. So yeah, couldn't be more happy with how Ailing's doing.
Can you imagine if that went in after that run and he just hit a top corner?
Goal of the season already.
2 in 1 game. Yeah, real credit to Ailing, because I think he's been one of those players where I've looked at and I've thought, we could do better. We could improve upon that position. Is he really going to be a starter for us? But I think, as you said, he's extended the length of his career just moving in field a little bit and having the game in front of him. And I don't know, I just think that a lot of the time you see people talk about a lack of pace. I think that Boro aren't blessed with pace in their backline, but what they do have is clever, intelligent defenders that know when to step up and they know when they're called upon to defend, basically. And I think that Ailing is one of those players. He's a wily player. He's been around. He's had many a game in the Championship and played in the Premier League as well. He is a good defender, and I want to emphasize that, a good defender. And so I think that he can cover, and Boro can help cover with the wing backs as well, certain deficiencies that he and maybe Edmondson may have. I don't think Edmondson's blessed with pace either, but Ailing in particular, I think, is a good defender and has definitely shown that at centre half. And yeah, really good, because as we've spoken about, we do have a little bit of an injury crisis or an unavailability crisis at centre half. So it's just good to see that other players can step in. And is he now a bona fide centre back? Is he a proper centre back? Let's say that he is. I think he's earned that title. Tom, you were praising Sol Bryn at the end of last week's pod. You cursed him a little bit there, didn't you?
Yeah.
With the rare lapse of, it was just a rare lapse moment from him, really, which led to West Brom halving the deficit later on. Still, though, what did you make of his display? Nothing seems to have changed, really, in regards to your confidence, I would assume.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to stop praising people in the praising place, to be honest, because this happens all the time. I'll praise them and then they'll make a mistake the next week.
Mm-hmm.
It was a bit of a weird one with that second goal, because I just feel like there was absolutely no reaction from anyone, and I don't know if this was just like everyone switched off. I thought it was just me. I thought I was in my own world and I've kind of missed it, but it seemed like there wasn't that much noise on the ground afterwards. And you watch back the goal on Sky. It takes the commentators a good few seconds to register what's happened as well. So
that was funny.
Not quite sure what happened there. If there was just like a lapse in concentration from everyone, but maybe it's just something that Sol Bryn will take and need to learn from, because he commits to coming out, then stops, and he ends up kind of really out of position, which ends up in an easy header. If he commits all the way, maybe he can get a touch on the ball. He was probably better served staying on his line for that one, because ultimately that header's straight down the middle of the goal. So if he stays on his line, it's an easy save. But yeah, it's one for him to kind of take forwards and learn from. But other than that, he is showing that he is a good shot stopper, and that is, I feel, in this system, what we need from a keeper. It's not like we need the keeper to be like B-Tech Edison or anything, where he's beating attackers and passing out from the back. You've got to be able to mix it up with your distribution. but ultimately with the way our defence set up and not really allowing a lot of, I would say, clear opportunities, you need a good shot stopper for the opportunities that do arrive. And I still think last night he made a couple of important saves, one kind of in the first 20 seconds, and then there was another one second half. I can't remember who it was from West Brom that shot it, but it was a good low save and then a good recovery to kind of keep hold of the ball after that. But I still think he looks assured in goal. And I still think, even though we've talked about it before and say he's not going to win Young Player of the Year because he's like 24, but I still think that's young for a keeper. I don't think a keeper really hits their peak until they're in the 30s. So I still think he's going to learn from that experience and get better. And nothing's changed in terms of my confidence of him playing in goal for us.
Yeah, maybe we shouldn't have expected a West Brom goal, because I find that hilarious that Sky didn't even recognise it. The camera was like on Edwards, and it had like a fixture list, and then it was like, oh, West Brom have scored. Middlesbrough have conceded. Okay, it was one of the weirdest like moments ever. But I'm not going to criticise Solbryn for that one moment. I think, Tom mentioned it. The low save from Diakite, I think it was another really good save. But I don't think I can remember him making a bad decision other than that. Like, every time he comes, when he needs to catch, he'll catch. When he needs to punch, he'll punch. He doesn't like flap at a ball he should catch. But if it's out of reach, he'll always get a hand on it and he'll always punch it clear. So, I think he's been amazing. And there have been times as well this season where his distribution's been really good. Don't think we saw it as much last night, but I think I remember at Preston. Ooh. When he plays them quick balls out instantly, some of them are absolutely on point.
There was one towards Whittaker, and obviously we're on the opposite side to him playing it, and oh my god, it was perfect. It was perfect. I need to calm down because it got me excited. It's getting me excited again. In terms of goalkeeper distribution, it was really, 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 really good.
Yeah, he's just barely put a foot wrong, hasn't he? And I think he's got a little bit of everything, and he can only get better as well. So more than happy with Solbryn as our number one.
Yeah, top marks for Super Sol, Safe Hands Sol. And Tom, you said you don't want to go to the present place, but unfortunately, we've got to do it. So let's go to the present place. Right, who is Tom Green going to curse this week? We're going to hold off on Tom. We're going to ask Matt first. Who do you think were the key performers from Friday night's victory?
Yeah, I don't know about coming to me to avoid a curse. I could say the same for you as well, Dana.
I know, yeah. Should we just wrap up now? Should we just move on? We just won't go to the present place.
Yeah, just do the outro. For me, I think in terms of players on the pitch, again, it was a really good all-round performance. Ailing does deserve credit once again for just being really solid. I think Sen's impact was really good too. But the two I would give it to, firstly, I'm going to, again, give it to Harry Watling just because he was the one who seemingly triggered that long throw-in at the very time we got the ball. So good, quick thinking there. But I'm going to give it to Handsome Rob because every change he seems to make is working, and he's not afraid to make bold changes, really early in the game that he's willing to do to benefit the team. We talked about the change he made, bringing on Cali Sen. I also really like the other changes he made last night as well. I think as soon as we scored our second goal, he took Tommy Conway off, brought in Alan Brown. He recognised that, right, we've got a good cushion. Let's solidify things up. Brought in Alan Brown, who I thought, again, had a really good cameo, by the way. It was it's good to have players off the bench who are of that level. And the drop-off isn't that huge. I thought Alan Brown did really well when he come on. And even towards the end of the game, bringing on Kante for Hackney, I feel like with Edwards, his finger is on the pulse constantly, and he's almost got changes prepared in his head, but he's willing to just make them as soon as he wants. He will not sit on a change, and he just makes quick, proactive changes. And I know maybe because of what we had last season, it might make him look even better in that regard than he would be, but I still think he deserves so much praise for how proactive he's been. in game, and whether it's him or Watling or maybe it's Vivesh as well. I think the three of them are just adding so much in so many different ways, and the coaching team are living up to the billing. I think all of them deserve credit for how well Boro are just what we're doing with in-game, the decisions, the substitutes, everything. It's gone really well.
I think it's quite clever with the halftime changes as well, because obviously you only get 3 chances to stop the play to make a sub, and doing it at halftime, it just kind of gives you that extra one if you want to make another change, which is, let's say, quite clever, I think, from the coaching staff. In terms of who I'm going to curse this week, it was in my present place this week. Ailing, Morris, and Conway. I think Ailing, for things we've mentioned previously, I think he had a really good game yesterday. Another top performance, and if he'd have just capped it off with that solo goal, that would have been the perfect centre-back performance. Aidan Morris never stops running, and he's going to be one of those ones where it's hard to displace him from the present place if he continues playing like that, because he does really, really well in that position, and I think it's great to see him growing more as a player and into this team this year. And Conway, I thought maybe unlucky to not get a goal at one point, because I also think, especially in the last couple of weeks, he's noticing the strikers that have come in and thinking, I need to pick my game up as well, and he's looking at grabbing a goal, and he's running a lot and doing a lot for the team, which I think he did anyway. But that run that he had down the left-hand side before he managed to cut in and get a shot at the keeper, which unfortunately rebounded right back at him and went out for a goal kick. Honestly, if he'd have managed to square it there, which I don't think a lot of people want the striker doing, but Nipan was a potential pass there, but even if he'd have managed to keep it on the floor and just get it through the keeper's legs or something, I thought he did really well to fashion that chance for himself. And overall, I do think his game's improving this year, and there's more goals to come from him if he continues playing like this. But I'd also like to give an honourable mention to Alan Brown, who I thought was fantastic when he came on. There was one notable moment for me where we were kind of trying to get out from the back. I think it was Silvera that might have been Silvera that launched the ball up the pitch, but it didn't get too far. It came back, and then Alan Brown just went full on kind of Peter Kay from the John Smith's advert and have it up the pitch, out for a throw in. It's what you needed in injury time. Yeah. But I also think he's got that experience to know when to do that and how to play. So I think in terms of anyone who was maybe a little bit concerned that we were losing some experience in midfield with Howson leaving, I think we've more than replaced that in Alan Brown. And as has been said, it's good to make those subs and have that level coming off the bench as well.
Yeah, definitely. Squad game. It always has been in the Championship, and it always will be. And it's good to know that the players that start the game can make an impact, but also the players that finish the game can make an impact as well. And it doesn't have to be just goals and assists. It can be just leathering the ball when we really needed to just get it out and alleviate a little bit of pressure, like you mentioned there from Alan Brown. I want to mention Tommy Conway. I think he must have eaten several Forbidden Blue Smarties when he was a kid. He's a very hyperactive footballer, very high on E numbers. He's very involved, isn't he? He's just so... He never stops. He's always so busy, always involved in the duels, in trying to get into goal-scoring positions, in pressing off the ball as well. Very good to have a player like Tommy Conway. And Boro fans will always love a player like Tommy Conway that you can see visibly he's giving absolutely everything to make sure that Middlesbrough win the game. I think he just loves football, Tommy Conway. You could just tell. It's the energy that he gives within games is really quite fantastic to see, actually. And I want to mention somebody that none of you have mentioned, actually, and it's Callum Britton, because I think that in terms of a summer edition, he's been very good. And he was involved, as many were, in the brilliant second goal. And just having somebody down that right-hand side that I think he's decent defensively, but also can give Boro something going forward, and he can combine pretty well with players on the inside of him, be it Luke Ailing on the underlap, or I don't know, a central midfielder like Hayden or Aiden, or maybe a Nipan, for example. I think it's just really good that we've got somebody there in Callum Britton who is very obviously just building his performances, and we're slowly starting to see what Blackburn fans said, him being one of the best right backs or right wing backs in the Championship. And again, like Middlesbrough as a team, there's so much more to come from Callum Britton. So yeah, I just want to give praise to those two players as well. But before we wrap up the podcast, we are going to head for the section around podcast questions. Yes, it is podcast questions. You know where to get us. We're on email, theborobreakdown@hotmail.com. We're on Twitter as well, Boro_breakdown. We're on Facebook, Instagram, and Blue Sky as well. We're going to start with Phil. First question. He asks, what have we done well in the first 6 games, and what do we have to improve on? Tom, I'm going to give that one to you.
I think defensively we've been really sound in the first 6 games, and ultimately I think it's a good defence that gets you high up in this league and helps get you promoted. It's a really, really solid platform to build from, and it has made it so, because I don't think we've been at our creative best or what we or the levels we think we can get to creatively in the first 6 games, but ultimately that solid defence has given us the platform to be like, we might only make a few chances a game, we put 1 or 2 of those away and we're going to win it, other than the Millwall game, which is obviously free. But I do think defensively this is the platform that we needed to build from, and if we can carry on doing this and be consistent defensively going forward, knowing that the best is still to come in terms of our attacking play, results should only get better from here on out.
Yeah, I think something that I've noticed is it's more of an intangible, I suppose, but it's just the resilience of this team. We've endured a few setbacks, I would say, the Preston game, 2 of them, even the West Brom game being pegged back, and it could have been a pretty nervy end to the match. And, well, I don't think it was, really. And I think that's a massive credit to Middlesbrough. I completely agree. It's that solid foundation, which I think a lot of Championship, I don't know, even neutrals will say that if you want to get promoted, you build from the back. And I think that although I have I'd love to see a very attack-minded, free-flowing football side that scores a lot of goals. I think, yeah, I will concede that if you want to get promoted in this division, you kind of need to start from the back. And I think that maybe we've got it a little bit the wrong way around under previous managers. So it's good that we're seeing that. In terms of where we can improve, I do agree. I think in terms of our chance creation, I think if we do come up against a side that completely shut Boro out and they just sit on a 1-goal lead, over the course of I don't know, a few games, maybe we'll become a little bit stuck. I don't know. I'm just theorizing. I think our chance creation in open play could be improved a little bit. But as we said at the top of the show, as we've said throughout, there's a lot more to come from this Middlesbrough side. So hopefully we can see that, just a little bit of refinement, because, yeah, we will see bumps in the road. We will lose. Sorry to give people the reality check that they probably don't want at the moment because they're on cloud 9, but we will lose. And it's just about, when we do lose, how do we bounce back from that? Can we maintain consistency? Okay, if we lose, how do you recover? Do you get back on the winning streak after that? Or do you kind of maintain a bad sort of consistency with consecutive defeats? Let's see, and let's hope not. Final question then is from Paul. I'm going to ask this to you, Matt. He says, can we keep this up? Ben Strickland also asked us as well, is this sustainable? So, yeah, can we keep this up, Matt?
I think it's unrealistic to say we can keep this up in terms of, we've won 5 of our opening 6 and we haven't lost. I don't know what that trajectory would have us finish on at the end of the season, but I'm sure it would be well over 100 points. So, yeah, I know, as exactly as you said, D, we're on cloud 9 right now, but we have to be honest. No, we can't keep this up because no team can keep this up. It's impossible. But what I will say is, I think for us to bank the points up this early is massively important. And what we've gave ourselves is something that I wish we had last season and probably the season before, and that's margin for error. We talked about it last season. It felt like at times we were going into games that felt like must-wins just to sort of hang on to the playoffs or just keep one foot in there. What we've done this season is we've gave ourselves such a great platform and such a great buffer already. We can go to Southampton next week, and if we draw, all right, it's fine. We'll probably be in the top 2. We might still even be top of the league. We might even be then able to go to Stoke the week after, and if we don't win there, it's not a disaster. Obviously, we want to keep winning as many games as we have, and we're spoiled a little bit at the minute, but we will lose. And I think we just need to ensure that when we do hit a bump in the road, which is inevitable, we bounce back from it and react. I think that's obviously the one thing, the one unknown still is how will this Boro team react to defeat? Because unbelievably, in the league, at least, we've not lost yet. I guess you could use the Doncaster game as an example of, well, look how we have reacted. That could be a good sign in itself. But yeah, it's unrealistic to keep this up. And I guess we'll see how we react when we do hit the winter months, when we've got to use the squad and injuries will come and whatever else. There's still a long way to go. But what we have done is give ourselves a great platform to build on, so that if we do suffer the odd blip, it probably won't be all that bad, as long as it doesn't prolong into 2, 3, 4 games. So we can't keep this up, of course, but great start, and hopefully it'll be a platform that we can keep going. Even if we can sustain it to a tiny degree, it might carry us all the way to at least the playoff finish, which would still be a successful season.
Yeah, it has been such a good start and so refreshing as well to not be playing catch up. It's other sides that need to play catch up and try to catch up with us. And we were discussing before we came on the podcast, Tom, you were doing the rounds on the Championship forums, and teams are looking at us now, and they're sat up and they're paying attention. So I think that's good. It's refreshing. It's such a welcomed change, isn't it? That we are top of the Championship table, and we probably won't stay there, but we've at least given ourselves a really good shot to end the season in the top 6, because 16 points banked up already. Dream start, and honestly, long may it continue. We will wrap things up there then. If you've enjoyed this episode, if you're watching on YouTube, please give it a like and a comment. If you are listening on the podcast platforms, please give us a 5-star rating if you've enjoyed it. We will be back for the post Southampton episode, but until then, take care and up the Boro.